Hi, everybody. Welcome to the MenoLounge. I'm Julie Gordon White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause, high fiber, and protein bars. How are you? Hi, Jenny. Happy Thanksgiving. Is this the Thanksgiving edition? I don't know. Getting ready for navigating all the things we have coming at us on Thursday, although they've already started in my world. I'm going to jump right in to our guest today, Dr. Meghan Tierney. I see her here. I'm going to bring her right up. I'm super on the scale. Here she comes, all the way from Seattle, Washington. Are you there, Dr. Meghan?
Hi,
Hello,
Julie. Thank you so much.
hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk with you today.
Same. I've been looking forward to this. Perfect timing as we are heading into Thanksgiving with all
Yes.
of the choices, and then speaking for myself, shame after eating all the choices.
Yeah.
So let me just go back. Welcome, Dr. Meghan Tierney, founder of Sorrel Health and Wellness in Seattle, Washington. You specialize in all things midlife, hormones, obesity, metabolism, and how they all come together. And you're navigating perimenopause with two smaller children, right? At the
Yes.
same
I
time.
couldn't have I couldn't have said it better myself.
There you go.
Yes.
Not that that's everything. I'm sure there's other things in your life, but they definitely impact how you navigate the world these days. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Welcome. So excited. Well, tell us first before we jump into Beyond the Scale. I know you were an actress, you were studying drama, and then you found yourself in medical school. How did all of
Yes.
that happen? That's such an interesting transition and choice.
Yeah. So I was at NYU for my undergrad, and I actually happened to be there during September 11th. And so that was a very profound moment in, I think, everyone alive, but especially, being there. And although I think that, art changes lives and it changes the world. I felt in myself this need to be more hands-on, like to be more direct and like how can I myself help people? And then very soon after this, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mhm.
And so I was her main caretaker during that process. And I just remember feeling so amazed by the doctor she was working with and the relationships she was building with them and how supported she felt because they were really communicating with her and connecting with
Mhm.
her and helping her on that journey. And I just felt like I could do that. I think I can do that. And so then that just started the ball rolling. So
Wow, you're
yeah,
definitely a left and right brain person then if you've done
yes.
all of that. But I'm sure it informs the way you care for women in this part of the
Yeah,
journey. And one of the things that you talk about that I love is bringing more empathy and compassion
yeah,
to the weight discussion and metabolism. And especially as we go through perimenopause, menopause, where we know 90% of women gain 10 or more pounds. And
yeah,
it becomes uncomfortable, impacts our confidence. And so
yeah,
let's talk about that because I
yeah.
think that's really a big part of Beyond the Scale is that empathy that you bring. Can you share your
Yeah.
perspective there?
Yeah, I really think about it as self-compassion. So, we actually have pretty decent evidence on how important self-compassion is for health. Like, we know that people who have more self-compassion are more likely to do things to be healthy, are more likely to be happy. And so, if we can have, like if you take, like, you're having a little bit of extra weight, you're lacking confidence, you're probably in the busiest part of your life. You have probably maybe children, you're in the middle of you're at the peak of your career. You are, like you're very busy, you're doing so many things, and then your body starts changing.
Right.
Then you can't rely on a body that has gotten you so far. Suddenly, all the things that you could do are harder or don't feel right. And I think we just default go into what is wrong with me? Why
Mm,
can't I do this? Why can't I be better? Why can they do it and I can't?
mm.
And
And why doesn't the thing I used to do to fix it work
yeah,
anymore? Yeah, so
exactly.
frustrating.
Yeah, because then you feel like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I think that the reframe is that you're different. life is different. You have different resources, you have different energy levels, you have more people who are relying on you, and that
Mhm.
changes the energy and the time that you have. Um, to do all these things. Plus, your physiology is changing. You literally have a different body,
Right.
right? And so you can say, like, hey, this is really hard right now. And it's hard for a lot of people. Like,
Mhm.
what can I do to move the needle forward versus like everything I'm doing is wrong? It's just so easy to fall into that. And you're just less likely to do the things that actually align with what's important to you, right?
That's a really good point because when you feel sort of the pile on of all of a sudden here I've got what we would call meno middle, and that's how I even got in this conversation because
Yeah.
I was that person and I wasn't taking hormone replacement, not in hormone therapy, and did not feel good. I really didn't feel confident, I just, and
Yeah.
not that even my image felt like everything. It was just more, I just don't feel good. And so I love that, when we're talking about all the things that pile on. So that's just one piece of the pie, right? That's just one of the
Yeah.
34 plus 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 symptoms that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so that pile on can really feel terrible. Mood,
Yeah.
brain fog, can't sleep. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think you add on to that sort of like the culture in which we live,
Mm.
which unfortunately makes women feel less than, like they
Mhm.
deserve less respect, love, and care if their body is bigger. Right. And so you add on top of that, and it's just now you're having your inner voice seems to be matching sort of the outward voice.
Mm.
And that's just a terrible place to be. It feels
Mm.
awful. It
Mm.
feels
And
really
aging
awful.
at the same time.
Yes, 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 yeah, yeah. It's really like, I mean, it is perimenopause and menopause is just like this, like the perfect storm. Like everything is happening simultaneously,
Mhm.
and how challenging that is. And I think now we have all these people talking about all the things you can do to be healthier and to like live a long life. And I think we all want to do that, right? We all want to like live a long, healthy, strong, vital life and not beat ourselves up in the process, like love
Yeah.
ourselves in the end.
Right.
And I think if we don't think about that as part of the journey, as that mindset, we're going to still be beating ourselves up when we're 80 years old and we're
Mhm.
not fitting into our size 6 jeans or whatever. It's
Right.
just it's so easy to
Right.
carry that mindset for your whole life.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's we don't need to do that because that's
No.
something that I like to shine the light on is that actually this is a super exciting time of life.
Yeah.
Regardless of your body size or aging or gray hair or whatever,
Yeah.
that it's the wisdom, the experience, the confidence, probably more income because of where we are in our career
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do things that we couldn't do before when we had little people. Sorry, Megan. I loved my little people, and I'm glad they're adults now.
I can't wait. I can't
Now
wait.
I have a dog that I'm like, oh, why do I have a dog? But it's so it's an exciting, wonderful time. But the things that
Yeah.
are happening physically, we have to adjust our mindset to accept and embrace. I think those things, and I think that's
Yeah.
where that compassion you're talking about, because change takes time.
Yeah.
We watch tons of videos, everywhere. 12 weeks, 6 weeks, you can do this. And,
Yeah.
and and does that stick? I mean, I'll let you
Right.
answer that, right?
No, it doesn't. And again, I think like shame is an incredibly powerful motivator, right?
Mm.
It
Yes, it is. I'll
in the
take that.
beginning, right? It totally is, but it's in
Right.
the beginning. And then that shame sort of dissipates. Then when things don't go your way, like progress is not moving along as fast as you wanted, now you're sort of getting this like validation that all the things you told yourself to get you into that shame mindset to do the things you didn't necessarily want to do to begin with, now you're validating all of those thoughts and it's hard to move on. It's
Mm.
also like really, I think we forget how difficult it is to live in sort of like uncomfortable emotions. So like
Mm.
when you're on some sort of health journey and something isn't going right, it's not working out the way you expected. that feels frustrating. That feels, like it makes you sad, it makes you
Just
frustrated, it makes you
demotivating. Yes.
demotivated, right? And then, but instead of feeling those feelings, what's really easy is to be angry. It's so easy to be
Mm,
angry at yourself.
mm,
That's like a
mm,
very comfortable emotion. It
mm,
even feels good and positive. Like you're like, oh, if I'm angry, like I'm gonna get something done. You're like,
mm.
the
It
drill
feels
sergeant.
forward, right? Like
It
you're, yeah,
does. Yeah.
versus sad, and you're over
Yeah.
here and slumped down. But at least if I'm
Yeah.
angry, I'm got energy. It's the
Yeah.
energy that comes with
Yeah.
anger. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Hmm.
The problem is when that anger is like focused towards
Towards
ourselves, right?
internally or anyone,
Yeah.
right? It's not.
Yeah, very true. Very true. But like we so often are like mad at ourselves for not doing something or mad at ourselves for not meeting some goal or whatever. And in reality, that does not move us forward. Like we're less likely to continue. We're less likely to keep trying if
Right.
the emotion that we lean towards is anger.
Mm. That's why trying to move away from external motivation, because that's okay for in the beginning, as long as
Yeah.
we recognize what it is, it's not going to last. So
Yeah.
falling in love, I would say trying to fall in love with the journey, fall in love with the practice, and
Yeah.
then the result just happens.
Yeah.
Instead of, because I can get very goal oriented. I know you have a beautiful workbook that we're going to talk about, that's
Yeah.
got SMART goals. And sometimes when I get so focused on a goal and it's not happening fast enough, then I get demotivated. I lose
Yeah.
that external drive versus, I have to remind myself, just enjoy the journey, Julie. Just, the
Yeah.
journey is the destination.
100%. Yeah. 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 Totally. I mean, that's why I like when people say weight loss journey or health journey, because like the process of getting to whatever your goal is, like, is the whole point. Like everything that you have to do in that journey, that's what's actually going to make the change. Yeah.
That's the
Totally.
goodness, and that's how
I
it
love
sticks.
that.
Betty says, yes, fall in love with the journey.
Yeah.
Right. Even the
Yeah.
messy parts, even the
Yeah.
messy
Even the
parts.
best parts.
Hey, let's talk menopause. And so, tell us, when someone comes to you, a woman in midlife comes to your practice and she's feeling frustrated, she's not feeling that she's in the body that she wants to have. We've got all these choices, from GLP-1s to all the things. Tell us about how you work with women and help them navigate through this.
Yeah, I think it's really important to like understand that that your physiology is really at play here. It's not about like what you are doing. Like there's no, it's not you're lazy. It's not like you're not working hard enough, that that there's something wrong with you, but that your body is changing. And whether you have dealt with weight your whole life or it's a new problem in midlife, the same issue applies, which is that estrogen changes the way our body uses the fuel that we consume, right? So we're more insulin resistant, and that means that we're storing, our energy in ways that, we didn't do in our 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's how we end up with our midlife middle, right? It's and so there's like understanding that it's not you, it's the physiology, and then it's sort of deciding what's important, like what are your values when it comes to health, right? Is your value that I improve my cardiovascular and metabolic health so that I can live a long healthy life? Is it that that part of that is that I want to lose weight? What are the things that are important to you? And then we have all of these tools, whether that's lifestyle changes or medication or mindset work. We have all of these tools to help you reach those goals that align with your values. But if you don't start from the place of like what's important to you in your life, then you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what tool to use.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Because we need to understand our own personal whys, because
Yeah.
that's what keeps us going when the going gets tough. And then I love that by understanding what your own goals and values are, then we know what tools to tap into. I always say nutrition is our biggest leverage and something that we can control, where a lot of things in the world we cannot control, but we
Yeah.
can control what we choose to eat or not eat, put in our mouths, have in our homes, in our environment. all of those things. So, and nutrition goes a long way. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I agree. I mean, that's actually really great self-compassion because it's like understanding what you control and what you can't, right?
Hmm.
And, if we make certain choices, we know that that's going to have a certain effect on our body. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we make those choices and we lose weight. Right.
Right.
So sometimes we can eat all of the healthy food, all the whole unprocessed food, all of the fiber, all of the protein. And depending on what's going on in your body, you may or may not lose weight.
Right.
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 And
Right.
so that doesn't negate all of the great things that nutritious food does for your body.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we're so sort of like weight focused sometimes when we talk about health,
Right.
and about
Scale
nutrition.
focused, right?
Yes,
Versus
scale
body fat
focused.
percentage. It's all
Yes.
about the ding dang scale, right?
Yes, yeah. And the
That's
thing
so
is we actually know that that's not a great way of looking at someone's health. We already know that, and we say it all the time, and we're still trying to sort out what the right thing is, right?
still a
Yeah,
slave to the damn thing. But the
it's
truth,
still a
I
slave.
would
Yeah.
say any woman in perimenopause and beyond, we've all been culturally socialized to
Yes.
focus on scale weight. And it's just, I would say, what, in the last 5 years that we have shifted ish towards being strong, not skinny. I mean, that's what I focus on now is building
Yeah.
muscle. And I had to get, I'm still working on it, comfortable that the scale doesn't move.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It
Yeah.
doesn't. But
It
I'm
doesn't move.
stronger.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm way stronger, when I'm
Yeah.
lifting bags and traveling, and I'm always lifting some cases of MenoWell bars going here or there. And I'm like, and someone says, "You want me to help you?" I'm like, "No, I got
You got it.
that."
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
that's just some psychological work. That's some mindset work because I get on the
Yeah.
scale. I have one of those ones that measures body fat, and of course it's not perfect, but it's got a baseline that have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great. I see my built a tiny little bit of bone,
Yes.
a tiny bit more muscle. It takes a long time to build muscle, but that scale weight,
Yeah.
it's flat.
Yeah, 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 it's totally true. And that can be so demotivating for people. It's
Yeah.
really demotivating. And it's hard. The hardest part about it is all that amazing work that you're doing is like putting money in the bank, right? Like it certainly helps you right now. Yeah, like it certainly is making your life great right now. But when you are like 70, 80, 90 years old, and you want to go on that cruise or you want to go and bird watch in the Grand Canyon or whatever. Now
I'm
you
not
have
watching any birds in the Grand
okay.
Canyon.
That's fair. That's
Okay.
fair.
But I'll go to the Grand Canyon, but
I
there's
love
not a
it.
bird
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So like you are putting money in the bank to use later, right? Because you are going to have all of that muscle to move you around, to move your body with energy. You're going to be able to get up off the floor. You're going to be able to do all the things you want to do in your life, but it is so hard for our human brains to think about that, to be like,
Mm,
hey, I am doing the work right now, and I am not necessarily going to see the payoff until I'm older,
right.
right? That is
But
so hard.
I love that. For me, I'm lucky because I have my parents in my 80s and they weight train 3 days a week. They work out. My
Amazing.
dad, my dad does 100 push-ups every single day.
That's
Every
so
day.
amazing.
That's just like his thing. He's like, sometimes I do 25 at a time. Sometimes I can do 50. Then I take a break. I'm like, you go, dad.
That's amazing. Yeah, I
So,
just I just saw a video of
works.
a woman who was like 80 finishing an Ironman.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Thank goodness for
Unbelievable.
Instagram and YouTube for that because
Yeah.
there's so many inspiring women in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
We can, with Body by Joan, on,
Yeah.
of these like just blowing stereotypes. But it
Yeah.
starts now. It starts as soon as we have this information, and it's never too late to start, right? To
Yeah.
shift our eating, lift weights, start where you are. Betty
Yeah.
Vargas says, focus on how your clothes fit versus the weight on the scale. True, except for Betty, I have to say, I'm a quad person and I love squats, and sometimes my jeans are a little tight around the quads, and it like gives me that
Yeah.
twinge back when I was 15, like, oh, I don't want my thighs to be too big, you know.
Yeah. I agree. And I think, I mean, I think the thing that I like patients to think about, and even when we start the journey, is to think about like your functional goals. Like what are the things that you want to be able to do that either you currently can't do or you don't do comfortably? Like,
Yeah.
what are the things that you want to do? And then that is a really great goal to look at. That's measurable. You can say, like, hey, actually, I can do this thing. Actually, I can do that 3 mile hike with my
Yeah.
friends without, running out of breath. Um,
I love that.
versus your size or the scale, because those things, again, they may not change. They may not change in the way you want. Like, you might lose your waist because you've gotten so buff, right? And that's great. Be buff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's huge. Okay, Megan, look at this. Betty, I'm 71 and competed in a bodybuilding competition and I won. Okay,
I
shout
love
out,
that
Betty.
so
You're a
much.
badass. Please
That's
DM me. I want to
amazing.
send you some MenoWell bars, something like whoop, whoop, whoop. Wow,
Amazing.
amazing. Okay, there
Life
we go.
goals. Life
Life goals,
goals.
hashtag
Yes.
be like Betty. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay, Betty, you and I are going to
Amazing.
have a conversation. But anyway,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I love it
I
so
love
much.
it. Yeah.
Megan, so what happens? A woman comes and she says, I want to be on a GLP-1. What's your take on that? Your lens? How do you decide? And then there's a whole microdosing thing. And,
Yeah.
I have many friends who have had a beautiful experience on a GLP-1. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they are amazing tools, like incredible, like honestly, miracle producing tools for people, women, men, women, everyone who have been struggling with obesity. I think that for a long time, healthcare has used like lose weight as a prescription, and there
Mm,
wasn't actually something that we could necessarily do about that besides surgery that would really move the needle for patients. And there's something about GLP-1s that allow people to, um, feel agency about the foods that they eat, right?
mhm,
Not feel like they're suffering
mm,
while losing weight, which I think is a really big shift for patients. I often tell, especially women, I'm like, you probably have a history of dieting your entire life, and in that entire life, you have probably suffered, gone to bed hungry, had hunger pangs throughout the day, just felt awful. The goal is not that. Like, if you're feeling that, then we're doing something wrong.
mm, mm.
And that's a big shift. And I think these are great medications for the right people and under support of a doctor
Mhm.
or someone who knows what they're doing,
Not
because I
just
think,
ordering on the internet and self
yeah, and
monitoring.
self-dosing, asking
Mm,
Facebook groups about what you should do with your dosing, like
mm,
that is so scary to me, because these are really powerful medications and you can make yourself sick by not eating
mhm,
enough food, right? Like,
mhm.
it absolutely can make it so that you're not eating enough.
Yeah.
um, and so I think they're amazing. And I think, like, there are some people who I've seen who they come to me because they're experiencing extra 10 or 15 pounds in midlife. And they're like, I want to, my friend is on a GLP-1, they're having great success. I want to be on one. And for me, usually that's not the right person for a GLP-1 medication, right?
So
It's
that
not
10
about,
to 15, that last
hmm
annoying 10 to
hmm
15 is
yeah.
not for you in your view a good candidate
Yeah.
for GLP-1.
Yeah. These are, again, very powerful medications. And that 10 to 15 isn't necessarily going to improve your health. And I think that that's
Because that's the
really,
goal, right? To improve our
Mhm.
metabolic markers. And so,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. And so while it feels uncomfortable, right? Like, it feels mentally uncomfortable, that is a different problem than you have actual metabolic dysfunction that a
Mm,
GLP-1 medication can help improve.
mm,
And in fact, I saw a patient this past week, sort of that story. in the past was an athlete, and like trained really hard, like was doing triathlons, and she had gained about 20 pounds, and she was like, I really want to be my weight that I was when I was training. And I asked her, do you still want to train? Like, are you still training for a triathlon? She's like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. It's like you can't have the body of a triathlete if you're not going to train like a triathlete.
Right.
And
And to have that,
GLP.
you have to have a certain amount of energy, nutrition,
Mhm.
food, fuel in
Yeah.
your body in order to do
Yeah.
that. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, I could eat everything. And I was like, yeah, of course. You were working your engine. Your
Mm.
engine needed fuel. But a GLP-1 is not going to solve that.
No,
Right. That's more
no.
about like how do you honestly, how do you feel comfortable in the body that you have? Which I
Mm.
think is a really hard thing for women to do. If you are truthfully of a certain age. Like I grew up, I'm a teenager of the like, Britney Spears, low rise, like,
Flat of
as
it,
skin
flat
flat as you
stomach. All right. I never had
yes.
that. Maybe in seventh grade for like, I don't know, a
Yes.
month, but after that,
No.
never again.
Yeah, never in my life. And even though I talk a good game, I still have to have the self-talk of being like, oh, that was a very negative thing I just said to myself about my body. Where did that
Mm-hmm.
come from?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are the great things that my body has done for me today? Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's mindset and sometimes it's actually you would do really well with a GLP-1 and it'll probably change your life.
What is
So
that threshold? If I don't know if that is, if you can
yeah.
even go there, but about how many pounds of fat
Yeah.
um, makes it make sense to really consider a GLP-1 to improve your metabolic dysfunction.
Yeah. So right now it's we go by BMI criteria. Again,
I
BMI is
don't like
terrible.
that scale. Do you?
I know. No, it's
Because
terrible.
what
It's
about us girls with muscle? I mean, that just
yeah.
throws the whole thing
No,
off.
that's why I prefer so there are some new guidelines actually came out from the American College of Endocrinology that talks about using BMI as a screening tool and then using more like body fat percentage and height to waist ratio. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that is
Hello,
way
said
better. I
5'1".
100%. Yes, 100% better. Yeah.
And a
Uh,
big chest, like, come on,
yes.
the whole thing is
Yes.
against me here. Okay.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so I think we are still struggling with how best to quantify this, right? Because I think that this is really new for us. We have a tool, an amazing tool that we are still trying to figure out like who are the right people. And you talk about microdosing, we're not sure. We don't have any evidence. Right now it's like maybe, we don't know.
Right.
And so right now when it comes to like say getting insurance coverage, right? So insurance and like FDA approval. It's currently FDA approved 27, BMI of 27 with other conditions. So something like high blood pressure or cardiovascular disease, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
or a BMI of 30 and above.
Mm.
And
Got it.
so that is like a very ish category, right? Because sometimes we can have someone who is a BMI of 26, depending on where their genetics come from, that is at a much higher risk than someone who has a BMI of
Right.
30,
That's
right?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're still figuring that out. And some of that is a little bit of the art of medicine, right? And getting a body composition and seeing like, are we looking at someone who has a BMI of 25, but they have all of their fat in their belly, right?
Right. So
And
then
that,
we've got a high visceral fat
mhm.
score, which
Yeah.
is more dangerous than,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Mhm.
visceral fat is not the stuff you can pinch, right? It's the
Right.
stuff inside. I just like because sometimes we're like, oh, I have an extra little pooch. It's like that's not the visceral fat we're really
No.
worried about. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fat that's wrapped around the organs that's
Exactly.
metabolically active, right? So
Yeah,
that's
you
the
got
fat
it.
I'm worried about. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. God, I never heard the using BMI and some of these other indicators as a way of determining if somebody is a good candidate or not. So
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
helpful. Hi
The other
hope, I
thing,
see you there.
yeah,
Yeah.
the other thing to really think about too is that, a lot of patients, they are coming with a history of restrictive eating disorder or
Right.
some
Right.
like, yeah, like some. things around food, honestly, that can come just from being within, this milieu of diet culture that you have to be really cautious with, because GLP-1s can make it really easy to have a restrictive eating disorder. And
That's what
so,
they're all about, right? Making
yeah,
it a caloric deficit,
yeah,
something that you don't think about and you're not
yeah,
conscious. And the food
yeah,
wise, I understand, like there's none of that. Watch a commercial and then want to go out and run to the
yeah,
border or something
yeah,
like that to go to Taco Bell.
yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so that's also part of it, is sort of like getting into the people's history with food and their relationship with food, because that doesn't necessarily mean that someone who has that history couldn't necessarily benefit from a GLP-1, but it's definitely someone that has to have really close support,
Yeah.
right? And so there's so many things that go into deciding if someone's a good candidate, and that's why it's so important to have someone who's knowledgeable about the medication.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's really a big takeaway, I think, is if you're serious about it, then be serious enough to have a doctor supervising you and don't be tempted. I mean, we wouldn't order all kinds of other medications,
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals on the internet. I mean, I know people do, but we as midlife women, we deserve better. And if this is something we
Yeah.
want, we deserve to invest in our health. And
Yeah.
if you're considering GLP-1, which I think, like you said, is so really positive for a lot of people, we really need someone who knows, a real doctor to supervise us. So,
Yeah, I really like that. We deserve good care, right?
yes,
And yeah,
let's not
yeah.
cheap out and go for the blue light
Yeah.
special on healthcare.
Yes, yes, yeah,
No thanks.
100%.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you have some beyond the scale tips for us. Here we
Yeah.
go. And I hope something has to do with handling Thanksgiving, because I am already so like mentally thinking about pumpkin pie, like because the
Yeah.
dessert. Oh my God, the dessert.
Yeah.
I
Love
could
it.
just eat a couple of green beans and a piece of turkey and some turkey to make sure I get my protein. After that,
Yeah.
everything step aside. Give me the pumpkin pie, all of
Do
it.
it. I mean, true, my real answer to Thanksgiving is enjoy Thanksgiving, right? It is one day out of the year, right? We have like really like two, maybe three major holidays where food is the center of the thing.
Of the
Enjoy
universe.
it. Yeah, it's like literally the whole point of the holiday. Enjoy,
So yeah, it's
right?
supposed to be gratitude, Megan. It's supposed to be
Yes.
gratitude.
Gratitude, gratitude. Have
Gratitude for
gratitude for your
food.
pumpkin
Yeah.
pie. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy it, like without shame or guilt, right? So that you're not thinking like you're going to restrict because when we overeat because we think we're never going to allow ourselves that thing
I'm
again,
never gonna
right?
have this pie again, so give
Yeah.
it to me. Right,
Yeah.
right,
And then if you want to have pumpkin pie as like your some leftovers, have it as a breakfast treat. So I
right.
know that sounds crazy,
No, I
but
love it.
yeah, yeah, you are most insulin sensitive in the morning. So,
Mhm.
like, work with your body, right? So, if you want to have a sweet treat, have it earlier in the day, right? And if you're like, absolutely, I'm not going to have pumpkin pie with my breakfast or lunch or whatever, like, if you're going to have it at night, have it with something that has protein in it, right? So, you can have it and then have what you need to.
Super
Yeah.
good. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just gave me permission to have pumpkin pie for breakfast too.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah, because I'm gonna be walking, moving, lifting all the rest of the
Yeah.
day. That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and then I love a post Thanksgiving walk.
Yeah.
Like our family does that. We go for a walk after dinner. It's perfect because what it does is it reduces all that blood sugar that you just spiked because you ate all of that pumpkin pie and delicious potatoes and stuffing and so good. But yeah, you can have what you want and then do what you need to do to take care of your body. So go for a walk,
Amazing.
Yeah, there's no reason to restrict. There's no reason
So
to
good.
restrict.
So
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry. You can see I'm a little obsessed because I'm trying to, I noticed that I was starting to eat more sweets or treats than I wanted to, even though I'm eating all my protein, my cottage cheese, my Greek yogurt, like all the stuff that I do. But then some treats along with MenoWell bars were not. I was just letting them sneak in there, and so I decided no more treats until Thanksgiving, and then off treats,
yeah,
and then Christmas because
yeah,
I don't know. I just
yeah,
decided that. So that's why I'm sounding so
yeah.
obsessed about that.
I mean, that's sort of what happens when you tell yourself you can't have something. It suddenly is like literally the only thing. Yes, you have
Like
tunnel
everything
vision.
smells like pumpkin. Okay,
Yes,
okay. Okay,
yes.
what other tips do you have for us to be beyond the scale?
Yeah. So I also like sort of loading, like say you sit down for your say you sit down for your Thanksgiving meal, loading your like starting with the things that are protein and fiber first. So you're eating your veggies and you're eating your turkey first, and then you have your potatoes and your stuffing,
Mm,
right? That actually helps you reduce the amount of those things that you eat, right? You can still enjoy it, but now you've filled yourself up with the more, I wouldn't say nutritious, but like the more,
protein,
yeah, more
more
protein,
satiating.
more
You're going to be
fiber.
full, right?
Yes,
And
feel full
fiber.
faster. Exactly. And so that makes a big difference. And then you can do that for every meal of your life, right? And I think, you can incorporate more movement generally in your day. And so the one thing that especially for us that sit for our jobs
Yeah.
a lot,
All
right?
day on
Yeah,
computer.
all day. Yeah, is actually if you like, you said you love squats. I love squats too. They're an amazing exercise, and actually are pretty effective at reducing your blood sugar. So you
Right.
can, yeah. So I actually have a lot of my, especially my work at home patients, get up once an hour and do like 10 squats,
Right. That
because
Dr. Rhonda Patrick's kind of thing that she's talking about is
yeah,
swapping out squats. Well, you can do your walk too, but if you
yeah.
don't have time to do that, just do your ten
Yeah,
squats right where
yeah,
you are.
yeah. A hundred
Mm-hmm.
percent, right? You don't need any, you can literally be barefoot in your PJs and do squats, right? It's the perfect exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially here in the Pacific Northwest, it gets cold and rainy. It's
Yeah.
really hard to get out there for a walk.
Right.
So yeah, squats are
Just
fantastic.
squat it out. Love it.
Yeah, you do squats in the kitchen while you're making your turkey, right?
Yeah. Or drinking your coffee. You will often
Yes.
find me like waiting for my coffee to brew, doing a few
Yeah.
squats right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I do it when I'm brushing my teeth.
yeah.
So yeah.
I'm not that coordinated. I don't even think like that. So,
Yeah, I mean, you can literally fit it in anywhere. I
yeah.
also, there's a personal trainer here in Seattle who did a whole series about doing exercise with their kids. And so she was doing weighted squats by holding her kid and doing squats. I mean,
Oh,
my kids like love, I mean, anytime I'm lifting them and doing anything, they think
yeah.
that's the best
It's
thing.
like a personal weighted vest. There you
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
go.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that.
totally. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then if you like we talked about, if you're going to have sweets at night, just have it with protein, right? Like one of my I guess this doesn't count as a sweet necessarily. I mean, it sort of does, but I really like Greek yogurt with the pudding mix. So like just like a little bit of pudding mix.
Hmm.
And then chocolate chips and graham
Hmm.
crackers. It feels
Hmm.
like I'm having cheesecake.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's like my favorite like late night sweet snack. And yeah, so I think the point of all of this is that you can work with your body, right? Like you can do all of these things. You can do the walking, you can do the strength training, you can do all of this, all of the changes to your nutrition, you can increase your fiber and protein, right? You can do all of these things, and all of it counts, whether or not you see any change in your body, right?
Mm.
All of it makes a difference. And even if
Oh, wait,
it's
I love that.
small,
So even if you don't notice the change, the fact that you are doing these things, eating, making these great choices with protein and fiber, moving your body, it all still counts. It
it
all
all
still
still
counts.
counts. It all makes a
I love
difference.
that.
Like
It all
it
makes a
all
difference.
makes a difference.
It's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
deposit in the health bank.
A
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think like it also doesn't matter the size of the thing. So,
Mm.
we're talking, you work out, your family is very into exercise, but I see a lot of people where walking to the mailbox is their exercise.
That
And so,
counts. Yeah.
yeah, that counts. And so, the point is progress, right? Like if you're going from, I just, most of my movement is from my front door to the mailbox, but this, my goal is I want to go on a walk down the street, right? Like going on a walk down the street once a week is better than you were doing before,
Right.
right?
Just a little
Yeah.
incremental growth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Hmm.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be perfect either. You don't have to do it every week, right? You just have to do it most weeks.
Okay, now you're talking to me. Like, here's where all the judgment comes in. Like, oh, I didn't do it that way, or I forgot, I
Yeah.
didn't do my thing today. Those kinds of
Yeah.
things.
I
Okay.
mean, that's why we have that saying, right? Get back on the horse,
Yeah.
right? You just get back on the horse, right?
And we don't need to lean on that to not get back on, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't, it's like whether or not you did it last week or not, it does not change whether or not you can do it this week,
okay.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't even have to wait until Monday.
No, you can do it right now if the mood strikes.
Right. Right
Yeah,
after the MenoLounge, 10 squats, everybody. Let's
I
go.
love it.
Super good.
Yeah.
Let's see, did we leave anything out? Anything else you have? Or we should tell people where they
Hmm.
can get more of Dr. Meghan Tierney.
I don't think so. I mean, I think the one thing we didn't touch on was SMART goals, which I
Ah,
think
let's
is a
talk about
little bit, yeah, is very aligned with what we're talking about, which are so SMART is an acronym. It doesn't mean like stupid versus smart. So S is that it's specific. So this walk, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes, right?
it.
It's measurable, meaning like, did you do it? Did you not? Right. It's A is achievable, and this is
Mhm.
incredibly important. The goal of a SMART goal is that you would have to like break your leg not to be able to achieve it. It needs to be so easy that you know that
You
you can
don't
do
set it
it.
as 20,000 steps for the day
Right.
unless,
Exactly.
right.
Right. Yes. And that's why I was like, like that 10 minutes once a week is great. We want to work up to 150 minutes a week. That's the ultimate goal. But 10 minutes once a week, great.
Start where
Um,
you
at-
are. That's what I
Start
always
where
like to
you
say.
are.
Start
Yeah.
where you are and then go. Because
Yeah.
some people are at 10,000, 12,000 steps. So there is room to go to 15 maybe, but start where
Totally.
you are. Right.
Or it's like optimization. Like, oh, you got lots of steps. Like, what else can we do? Can we like adjust your strength training? Can we add functional mobility, which I think is like the lost art of exercise? It's like the third
Yes.
category that we're not doing
Yes.
enough of. Yes.
Agree. Agree.
Yes. And then R is for relevant. And I think about this as like values aligned. So going back to like what's important to you, this is about
Mhm.
making that sort of the goal that is inwardly focused. Like what do I want? What would align with what is important to me? So I want to walk so that I can play with my kids, or I want to lift weights so that I am able to get up off the floor if I'm playing with my kids on the ground, something like
Or
that.
lift that heavy overhead bag
Or
into
yeah, because I want
the
to
plane.
travel the
That's always
world.
my,
Yeah.
yep, can fill that thing up, all the
Yes.
heavy stuff. No problem.
I love it. I love it. No one's gonna get you for like a weight, yeah, a
No.
weight limit. Yes.
I don't want to be that like old lady. Oh, do you need help lifting your bag? No, move
Yeah.
away. But thanks.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes, yes, 100%. Yeah. So that's like is it values aligned? And then T is time bound. So that means that you are going to make this goal and you're going to say you're going to do it for a period of time. So I'm going to walk for 10 minutes once a week on Mondays. It's great to it has to be scheduled on Mondays for 6 weeks. And then at
Right.
the end of 6 weeks, you can say, how often did I do it? What were my barriers? Like, what support did I need that I didn't have? And if you don't achieve this achievable goal, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with the goal, right? So the goal needs to be adjusted, or there was a barrier that you didn't anticipate, or there was a support you needed that you didn't get, right? And so
Mhm.
that is, again, sort of, it's not about you. It's not about being mean to yourself, right? It's
I
about
like
being like that
bringing it
goal,
all
that
back to the beginning of our
yeah,
conversation
yeah,
about
yeah,
self-kindness, compassion, and empathy. I like
yeah,
that. Oh,
yeah.
that's the reason that didn't work. It wasn't me. It was the
It wasn't
goal.
me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Bad goal
100%.
design. That's the whole thing.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
love it.
yes,
Super good.
yeah.
Now, if somebody wants to follow through, I know that you have a free workbook on your
I
website
do.
on SMART goals, right?
I do. It's a fillable workout workbook that takes you through like the whole acronym. And it gives you even some reflection questions at the end. So you get to the end of your time and you can reflect on your goal and sort of figure out what your next steps are. So yeah, absolutely. So you can go to Sorrel Sorrel healthandwellness.com and you can sign up there and we'll send you out the workbook.
I love it. And you have a YouTube channel too, don't you?
I do. I just started it. Yes, I just started. Yeah. So talking about all of this stuff, I think my first video was actually on metabolic health. But yeah, where I will give tips and tricks about what it looks like to be a woman in midlife and what it means to think about your health in a way that isn't looking at that number on the scale and valuing your body and in a way that isn't so appearance focused. So yeah,
I love it. We can
yeah.
always use more of that. We have a lot of brainwashing to undo.
Yes, yes, 100%,
Beautiful.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, give everybody, and they want to follow you here on Instagram, they should follow you at.
Meghan Tierney, MD, and then my clinic has its own Instagram, which is Sorrel, Sorrel Health and Wellness. So
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Dr. Megan, thank you so much for being here. I don't know if you can see the light changing here in my
I mean,
office.
it looked beautiful. I mean, it looks very sunny and lovely.
Okay, good. My camera's getting darker and darker. It's the winter sun, but I'm super grateful to have you. Everything we do at MenoWell is so aligned with your philosophy and taking
Yeah,
care of women and their bodies, nutrition, and beliefs in midlife about what's possible and releasing. We say this is a no shame zone,
love it.
and so I hope we can do a lot more things together in the future.
Yeah, I would love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
to be continued. Well, happy Thanksgiving. What's your favorite dessert?
It's definitely pumpkin pie. It's 100% pumpkin pie.
Well, cheers to the pumpkin pie
Yes.
eaters. I'm going to go eat
Can't
mine with
wait.
no shame. Can't wait. To
Yes.
be continued. Thank you so much. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Be well, everyone. Take care.